Chaffetz, Fox News contributor, former Republican congressman from Utah, and former chairman of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. What did you drive? What do you drive?
An F-150. I drive a Ford, and my wife drives a Ford as well, and my son drives a Ford, and we're a Ford family.
Are you an American family?
Yeah, but I drive a truck.
So you've got probably that bumper sticker on the back of your car that says, "Friends don't let friends drive Chevys."
No, I just like being the biggest car on the road, so I like being the F-150.
And once you drive an SUV and you're up high, you can't ever go back, can you?
When I first got it, I hit a deer. I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to. But it did nothing, and I loved that.
Right.
I feel bad for the deer.
Yeah, the deer's dead.
I feel dead. Yeah, he got the Ford emblem right on his belly.
Right.
But
And
it was a mistake, but...
Right. We're just about out of deer, too, so thanks.
Yeah.
Congressman, are we as close as it seems to be? We were very much on track when it comes to tax reform. We could have a floor vote today. Of course, it's still got to be a conference committee if they do pass it. What do your friends tell you on the Senate side?
It looks very good. Remember, the procedural vote that we tried to do on the Affordable Care Act failed. They didn't even get to debate it, let alone offer amendments. So if for it to pass with 52 Republican votes, is everybody signaling we're okay with this? And I think the jockey...
But not totally okay, right?
Not totally okay. There can be bills. Now, remember, Democrats also get to vote on these amendments. And if they can get a couple of Republicans to offer an amendment that the rest of the body doesn't like, guess what? Now you're dealing with a bill that a lot of people might have trouble with. So this vote-a-rama, as they call it, where they're voting pretty much every 10 minutes, could put some explosive things in place.
So what happens today? Because we're hearing it could pass this week, today, maybe tomorrow. What's the process today and tomorrow?
They will get through it, I think, pretty swiftly. They can limit the number of amendments, but when you have these holdouts, like Senator Johnson and whatnot, they're getting the attention of the White House and leadership to say, I want to negotiate this point because I want to make sure my amendment comes up and I want to have your support. I don't think they'll necessarily be no. The only one that I think is a no is probably John McCain. I think he likes higher taxes, and he likes...
He's voted against Bush tax cuts.
Yes, that's his history, and he likes a lot of spending on the military.
But he voted to push it forward?
Yes, and that's the thing, is he let it move forward, and that was a critical thing, as well as Susan Collins.
Well, you know, somebody who does not, an entity that doesn't like the tax bill is the New York Times, because they have big op-ed saying vote against it, and in fact, they put out all the senators who you're talking about who appear to be holdovers for one reason or another with their phone numbers saying contact them. But it's interesting. It looks like they're in violation of their own social media rules, because it says our journalists must not express partisan opinions, promote political views, which clearly they're doing, where they're advocating against it. And it goes on to say these guidelines apply to everybody in the department of the newsroom. I would imagine the opinion page is part of the newsroom.
Well, they get their own opinion, as does the Wall Street Journal and any other organization like that. But to start putting telephone numbers and to move to advocacy, to actually call not just the senator's office, but the districts.
Saying to oppose it.
Yes, and they're putting out hashtags to do this. Right. That's a new step, and you're right, against what they said they were going to do just a month ago.
Unless the opinion people are completely different than the newsroom. We don't know.
It says everyone.
It does say everyone.
So,
real quick, Chairman, on the actual items that are going to be the most controversial voted on today, real quick, do you think the trigger mechanism to raise taxes if the deficit goes up will pass? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think that is a...
You think it's going to be included?
I do think they're going to have to vote on it, and it's a tricky one. But a lot of people want to see a trigger that actually reduces spending.
That would have been better.
That would have been better. Look, if the economy's going sour, that's the last time that you actually want to raise taxes. But that's what some of these guys are actually advocating.
The mandate being removed, I sense that there's momentum even from Susan Collins to get this removed.
Yes. And again, what they'll be saying and whispering behind the scenes will be saying, hey, listen, don't worry about it, because we're still going to conference. This isn't final passage. I know you don't like it. We just got to get to conference. And a lot of people will buy off on that. They did in the House. Right. A lot of people had provisions they didn't like there, but they're like, hey, we have to get to that. Then you can vote yes.
What made them get to a point? Because a lot of people are saying they're happy with the way Republicans are handling this now. It's give and take. They're all, you know, they're coming up with all of their concessions. Susan Collins wants one thing. They're saying, okay, what do you want? We'll give it to you. Why did they get to this point? Because they haven't been like this in the last year, at least.
It's their collective political death. They
right.
will die. They will die a
Self-preservation.
political death if they
Right.
don't actually
I
pass
agree.
something.
And lastly, the president retweeted 3 Islamic extremist videos, one of which was fake yesterday. Does that get in the way of this passing?
It does get us off message. We should be all totally focused on tax reform and making sure, while the New York Times and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, aren't showing up for meetings, but then are out there advocating and calling, we got to stay on message and talk taxes and explain to the American people why it's so beneficial. By the way, 2 big votes next week that nowhere on the radar, about a $30 billion supplemental to fund the hurricanes. And then we got to have a continuing resolution. It'll probably take us into the middle of January. And those are very difficult votes for House and Senate members next week.
And that gun law passed where you can take your guns.
Yes, that's up in the House as well. Yes.
A lot going on.
National reciprocity. I hope it passes.
All right.
I co-sponsored that bill. I want it to
So
go.
what was the news yesterday? I read this morning it did pass, I thought.
No,
The
but it's got
House.
to get all the way to the finish line.
Got it.
That's
Right.
what I'm
So
saying.
just past the House.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Ford F-150, thank you very much for
That's
joining
right.
us.
Thank
All
you.
right.